Alright guys, welcome to another video. I'm here with my brother Ralph, and we have been on an epic trip through the Middle East and Central Asia. We visited 6 different countries, and this is our very final stop.
Yep, 40 days gone. I think I left on January 8th, and I'll be getting back on the 21st of February. So that is a long time to be away from home, but thankfully I've gotten to see a lot of amazing countries. I actually went into the United Arab Emirates twice, because it's like first I went there on my own, then I went there with this guy. And that was actually where we started our little adventure.
I didn't meet you until Oman.
Well, that's true. I guess I should rephrase that. And that was actually where I started my little adventure, landing in the airport. I had to take a bus over the border into Oman.
Oh, joy.
And that was actually where I met you. You arrived on your own bus.
Yeah, it was really scary. The bus, I didn't even know if I'd get through to Oman, but I did.
Yeah, the bus ride from UAE to Oman, I don't think it was a very good experience for either of us. I mean, I was actually sick that day. I felt like I was going to throw up on the bus, so I was just struggling to keep that in. Meanwhile, the bus wasn't air conditioned, so it was actually getting quite hot on board the bus, even though it was January. It was actually really uncomfortably warm. And then it was just bumpy and a long ride. You have to get off and go through customs, so that was unpleasant. But thankfully, we both made it to Oman safely, where we were able to connect and start exploring Oman.
Yeah, and I feel like Oman is a somewhat underrated country. Like it's definitely one of the much safer countries in the Middle East, but it's very seldom talked about by most people.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. I mean, when I said that I was going to Oman, some of my friends were like, Oman? No, don't go there. I don't know if maybe they were confusing Oman with Yemen, but Oman, for the most part, is quite a safe country. And what I liked about Oman was, for the most part, people there are pretty respectful of tourists. We didn't have a lot of people like, oh, come with me, sir. I'll do this for you. I'll do that for you.
God.
Like you get at tourist sites in some countries. There was like one street near the sea in Muscat where some guys were calling out to us like that. But, I mean, I just kept walking and they, left me alone. It wasn't like some of the other countries we visited here where people can get a little bit more aggressive with tourists. But, yeah, Oman was really nice, peaceful. Well, what did you think of Muscat?
It's not my favorite city, but I mean, we went at the time of year when the weather was quite nice in January. I mean, it's never going to be cold or even very cool. It's always warm. But January is definitely the best time. Why don't we say the least hot time of the year to be in Muscat. So if you go there, go in January.
Yep. And I guess I can see why they call it Muscat, because they had a lot of stray cats around town. And that was probably the number one thing I photographed while I was there. And yeah, I really liked that. And I guess after Muscat, we ended up renting a car to drive out to Nizwa.
Yeah, Nizwa.
What do you think of Nizwa?
Nizwa for it. Nizwa was a really beautiful, historic little town. It's like the streets were too narrow for cars, but it almost felt like it wasn't really intended for cars. It was just intended for people to be walking.
Yeah, driving in Nizwa was actually a little bit scary because I was constantly worried I was going to scrape the car on some wall because, I mean, those are tight streets, brick walls on either side of the car, and oftentimes those roads are actually two-way, so, I mean, you might have someone coming the same direction as you, and one of you is going to have to reverse out to make way for the other guy.
Yeah, that happened a few times.
Yeah, and I will warn people, the drivers in Oman can be pretty aggressive compared to the United States. A lot of people honking, a lot of people driving over the speed limit. At one point, it was like, as we were coming to Nizwa, the car in front of us actually broke down, and it's like I needed to get around them, to the left or the right. But I mean, cars were just coming by so fast on either side of me that I couldn't, I didn't feel safe pulling out for very long. And it's like all these guys behind me were honking the horn like they wanted me to get out of the way. I'm like, guys, I can't go any faster. The car in front of me is broken down here. But I mean, yeah, what I've noticed about countries in Asia, people freaking love the horn. They just love to honk that car horn all day long.
Yeah, we really don't like the horn much in Oklahoma.
Yeah, in Oklahoma, when you hear the horn, that means like you almost hit someone's car. There's about to be a car crash. It feels a lot more urgent than around here, where people seem to just hit the horn anytime they get a little bit annoyed or want you to go faster.
Yeah, indeed. I liked Oman okay. I also liked UAE because after that we went and spent several days in Dubai and then at least one day in Abu Dhabi. What I liked about UAE is although it was an expensive country, I did find that people were honest and you usually paid the legit price. Usually you did not pay a jacked price.
Well, the taxis run on meter, and that's something I always appreciate.
Yep, I find that as a foreigner, like meters and machines are often your best friends.
Well, people in Dubai, I think, are quite used to foreigners because I read that 90% of the population are expats. So, almost every person you're going to be meeting there is from India, China, USA, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, other Middle Eastern countries. I mean, Dubai is truly a land of foreigners. And so I like to think that probably no matter what country you're from, people will be accepting of you in Dubai.
Dubai is very accepting of people of pretty much all walks of life and races and ethnicities. It's still actually a very conservative place with its laws, but I'm not going to get too political here.
Yeah, UAE, can be a little bit conservative, but in a way, it's also kind of progressive in how it's such a diverse country, at least by Middle Eastern standards. And they have a lot of beautiful buildings there, like the Burj Khalifa, of course, is the most famous one, but also the Museum of the Future, the Dubai Frame, the Burj Al Arab Hotel. They have some of the most amazing pieces of architecture you'll see anywhere in the world. Dubai is a very futuristic city.
It's just surprising because, I mean, when I was a wee one, Dubai was just a fishing village. It was nothing. But then it's like just 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, it's the first time I even hear about Dubai, and I hear about it having the tallest building in the entire world by far, and I'm just like where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, we took a lot of photos of the Burj Khalifa from Skyview Dubai. I actually chose not to go up to the Burj Khalifa observation deck, I guess for two reasons. One, you can't go all the way to the top, and it's like, well, if you can't go to the top, then what's the point? And two, I guess the main thing I wanted to take photos of was the Burj Khalifa.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't do that if you go up the freaking Burj Khalifa.
Yeah, so I looked for an observation deck that was like kind of across from the Burj Khalifa so I could get photos of the tallest building for my social media.
Smart. And you save money.
Yeah, and after that we went to Abu Dhabi, which I'm sure you'll agree Abu Dhabi felt like a much calmer town than Dubai. Not as much to do, but a little bit more chill.
I noticed we had, I guess we did 2 nights in Abu Dhabi, but we really had just one full day there since we left early the next morning. And I felt like 1 full day in Abu Dhabi is probably enough.
Yeah, well, we went to this nice beach village. What was that called?
I don't even remember.
Well, we went to a kind of a touristy beach village, and we also went to the Mandalay Bay Casino, an amazing. Sorry, that's the name of a casino in Las Vegas. The Mandarin is what I meant to say.
Mandarin Oriental Hotel.
Yeah, so it's like we went to this little touristy village on the beach. We went to the Mandarin Oriental Hotel, and then I think the last thing we visited was the Grand Mosque. And I would say that's probably the best thing to see in Abu Dhabi. I mean, it can take quite a while to get in there. They do have a lot of security, long lines, but I mean, the Grand Mosque was an amazing place. It's probably the most beautiful mosque I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And pretty stunning. So I would definitely recommend checking that out while you're in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, I did like the mosque. The mosque was quite fascinating. It looked like something out of a freaking Prince of Persia game.
Yeah, really cool.
After that, we went to a very different place. We went to Central Asia, starting with Astana, Kazakhstan, where things got a lot colder.
Yeah, it's one of the coldest cities in the entire world, and oh boy, did we feel the change in temperature. That was a very cold travel night coming from the airport to the hotel, because it's like we had put on some little jackets, but we were still, for the most part, dressed for Abu Dhabi. And, it's like we were stuck outside our apartment building waiting to be let in. And, I was worried we were going to freeze to death in our Abu Dhabi clothes out there in Astana.
This is a jacket that will not do in Astana, Kazakhstan.
Yeah, frankly, it gets cold enough in Astana that I don't think any jacket would do. One night we went out, it was literally below 30, a negative 30 Fahrenheit.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, we went out just in shorts and a t-shirt to kind of feel what it was like.
And that was the actual temperature. The wind chill was close to minus 50 Fahrenheit.
Yeah. But I think that I mean at those kinds of temperatures, you're just gonna have to stay inside. I don't think any jacket is gonna be warm enough to make you comfortable out there.
No,
So
we almost freaking lost our hands.
so if you're going to Astana, I definitely recommend you bring some warm clothes. But despite the cold weather, I actually really liked Astana. I guess I just really liked the snow, and so I really liked being in a big city with all that snow.
Yeah, I did really like Kazakhstan a lot. I don't know if I like it as much as Thailand, but I feel like it's very underrated. You know, they do actually have very good food. They have besh bormak. I don't know if you guys have seen. It's like a square noodle dish where they have like horse meat, potatoes, onions, and it's got this sort of onion sauce. Now, he's not going to like that because he's vegetarian, but...
Well, surprisingly, there was a vegan restaurant in Astana that I actually thought was pretty good. But for the most part, it can be very difficult to get vegetarian food around there. At least if you're trying to eat, at local themed places and not, Indian or Italian places. But Astana has some amazing buildings. The Palace of Peace and Reconciliation, the Nur Alem Museum, the Ak Orda Presidential Palace, the Beytrek Observation Deck. I mean, those buildings look like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. Astana is a very futuristic looking city.
Yeah, it's definitely very futuristic, very alien-like city. It almost looks like a city from a different planet.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't like everything about Astana. Google Maps can be very inaccurate there. I mean, I was getting really upset because it's like I kept going to museums only to realize the museum was actually closed that day, even though it was listed as being open on Google. And I mean, that is just really annoying when they say they're open online, you show up and now actually they're closed. A lot of things weren't listed properly on the map. We had trouble finding some ATM machines because they weren't listed properly. I was trying to find a MoneyGram machine, and I mean, we were going from building to building to building looking for it and getting all kinds of different directions. And I mean, that's something I learned to really take for granted in the USA is Google Maps being accurate. Because unfortunately in Central Asia, especially Kazakhstan, Google Maps is not always accurate.
After that, we went to 3 other stands. We went to Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan. And all of those were warmer than Kazakhstan for sure. I really liked Uzbekistan a lot. I thought that it might honestly be my favorite of all the countries. Like, the people in Uzbekistan are really friendly. It's very, very cheap. The dollar buys you, 13,000 Uzbek soms? And there's not that many foreigner scams because there's just not that many tourists to begin yet, so you often don't have to pay tourist prices.
I did notice that people in Uzbekistan were a little bit more aggressive in the markets than in other countries. In Astana and even in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, nobody was calling out to us when we went through the markets. But in Uzbekistan, there were actually a lot of callers saying, "Oh, sir, come look at this, take a look at this." But, they weren't aggressive. It's not the end of the world. But
yeah,
I did feel like Uzbekistan might be getting more tourists than the other Central Asian countries.
Yeah, I think Uzbekistan might be the most touristy of them. And I guess what I also like so much about Uzbekistan, it's very cheap, it's very friendly, and the food. Yeah, like the food there is really good. They have this circular bread that you can get for like 25 cents. You just break it apart. It's a really good bread. You'll have to try it.
Yeah, surprisingly, despite seeming like maybe the most high-tech of them all, Uzbekistan has a great metro system, some amazing buildings, some cool theme parks. But despite all that, it was actually the cheapest of the Central Asian countries. So, great value and a well-developed country.
Yeah, we're now in Tajikistan. I don't really like Tajikistan as much. Like, another one I didn't really like was Kyrgyzstan. I don't know, I just thought Kyrgyzstan was a little boring and kind of polluted. But I think Tajikistan is my least favorite of them. What about you?
Well, they're different. I think Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan are kind of similar compared to the other two, but it's like Kyrgyzstan was more affordable, but what I didn't like about Kyrgyzstan was that it felt really polluted. The city kind of would smell bad, you would see smog in the air, and there was kind of some trash in the street, And I mean, there were a lot of stray cats, which I always like. Bishkek, there wasn't too much to do, and yeah, I kind of wanted to get out of there by the time we were leaving.
You seem to always go after those stray cats.
Yeah, I love the stray cats. The thing about Kyrgyzstan is I just didn't feel like there was enough to set it apart from Kazakhstan. Bishkek, not to be too mean on Bishkek, but it almost just felt like a less cool version of Almaty to me. So,
yeah, and it didn't snow as much as Almaty either.
Yeah, it's like Almaty without the great prices, without the cool buildings, without the snow, more pollution. I just, not my favorite. But I will say, I think I did like Kyrgyzstan a little bit more than Tajikistan. If there was one that I had to say I wasn't a huge fan of, it might have to be Tajikistan, because although Tajikistan has some beautiful nature, some beautiful ancient fortresses, a couple cool buildings in this capital, it just... I guess the biggest thing that bothers me is that there's no taxi app, and the taxis don't use the meter. So it's like every single time you're going to get a taxi, every single time you're going to be negotiating with this guy, they're going to see that you're a foreigner, they're going to jack up the prices. And I mean, I remember we asked the hotel on our first day here what a fair price for a ride would be, and I had to wave down 4 taxi drivers before one of them agreed to a fair price. Every single one before that was trying to rip me off.
Yeah, when you are a foreigner, especially a Caucasian foreigner in some Asian country, a taxi app and a meter, both of those are like your best friend.
Yeah, you want to ride the meter app. You want to ride a meter taxi, or you want to get a taxi through an app. You don't want to be negotiating, and unfortunately here you're going to have to negotiate every time. The other thing is, I just felt like the city wasn't very walkable. There were places I wanted to go where we might have to walk a mile to go just a block because there were huge highways in between us and the places we wanted to go.
Yes. Well, I guess we're just about out of time. So, Ralph, why don't you rank the countries in order from favorite to least favorite?
Number 1, Uzbekistan. Number 2, Kazakhstan. Number 3, Oman. Number 4, UAE. Number 5, Kyrgyzstan. And number 6, Tajikistan.
Very close to mine. My number 1 is Uzbekistan. Number 2, Kazakhstan. Number 3, UAE. Number 4, Oman. Number 5, Kyrgyzstan. Last but not least, Tajikistan. My least favorite of them, but I'm still glad I came here. Still a cool place.
Let's go!
I'm still having a pretty good time here in Tajikistan, but in a way, Tajikistan is, I think, probably the least visited country of all of them, don't you think?
Oh yeah, I think we looked at the tourism numbers, and Tajikistan's one of the least touristed countries in all of Asia, and the tourists that do come here are almost all Uzbeks or Russians. So as for Americans, I mean, there might only be 1,000 coming here a year.
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of people just forget about Tajikistan, but I still had a good time here. I encourage you not to forget about Tajikistan and pay it a visit.
Yeah, Central Asia is a fun place to explore, and you probably won't see too many other tourists, so it'll be a special experience.
Yeah, that's the thing about Central Asia, is it just seems like people forget so much about Central Asia. They always go to Japan, Western Europe, Thailand, USA or wherever, but people just forget about Central Asia, and Central Asia just has so much to offer. It's such an underrated region, and I've had a great time in Central Asia, and I think you will too.
Yep.
Alright, well, I think that's about it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe, give a thumbs up, leave a comment below. Check out these links to some of my other videos. Feel the burn for Bernard's World, and take care to all you wonderful people.
Bye-bye!